Hello lovely ladies! In this video I want to talk to you a little bit about Facebook groups. Now we all know that it's becoming more difficult to get the people that like our page to actually see our posts. The estimate is that somewhere between 6 and 10% of people that like your page will actually see your posts come up in your newsfeed. And that's not a huge amount. It's quite disappointing when you think about it. Now, we can get frustrated by this and we can get annoyed by it. I've heard a few people recently say, I've had enough of Facebook, I'm not willing to pay for advertising, so I'm just going to close down my account. And I think they're really missing a huge opportunity because there are so many people on Facebook that are looking for your products and services that you'd really be cutting off your nose to spite your face if you didn't take advantage of the opportunities that are there. Now, I know that people who are listening to these videos probably don't want to or aren't in a position to pay for advertising. And I think a great way of promoting your business is actually through Facebook groups. There are a huge number of groups of people hanging out on Facebook talking about particular issues or with a common interest. And you can very easily join those groups and join in the conversations that are going on there and become known as a really good, useful person to know who can provide some great information, some great tips, and people can get to know you. And when they get to know you, they're going to buy from you. So I want to just show you how you can find these groups on Facebook. The first thing I'm going to do is swap over to my personal profile, just because I always think the search functionality in Facebook works better from a personal profile than a business page. And let's think of an example. So say you could be an online weight loss coach and you want to find groups of people that are interested in weight loss. And because you coach online, it doesn't really matter where in the world that these people are. So you're just looking for generic groups about weight loss. So if you click in here and you can find groups, and then you find all of these groups of people who are interested in weight loss. And so what you can do, there are literally hundreds of weight loss groups on here. So what you can do is join some of these groups. Now you want to try and pick out the ones that will be most suitable for you. So Mommy's Weight Loss Support, if you particularly target mums, then that would be a great one. Healthy Weight Loss Challenge. You want to try and pick out groups that have a good few hundred members. Joining a group of 19 members probably isn't going to give you the return that you need on the time that you're going to spend on it. So try and look for some of those bigger groups. And then once you join those groups, you need to add value. Don't go in and start posting adverts to your products or your programs or the services that you offer. Go into the groups and start to get to know people and start to be useful and start to be helpful. If you have more of a local business, so for example, if you were a personal trainer based in St Albans, then you want to look for groups that are local to you. So they might not all be health and fitness related, but they are within your local vicinity. So you'll see St Albans Mums, nearly 5,500 members. St Albans Parents Network, 1,700 people. There will be people in here that are looking for the services of a personal trainer. And again, when you join these groups, you're not going in there to spam. There is absolutely nothing worse than seeing that somebody has gone in and just left a link to their services and not providing any value or any input. When you join groups, there's probably two things that you can use the group for. The first one is to do a bit of market research. So you can see firsthand what questions are people actually asking that are related to your product. So if you're a weight loss coach, how do people feel about going on their weight loss journey? What's worked for them? What hasn't worked for them? What was the tipping point that finally got them to take action and start to, or make the decision to lose weight? And by hearing firsthand what people's issues and problems are, then you can take that information and build it into your marketing material. There is nothing more valuable than hearing from your potential customers the issues they're having and the help that they want. The other thing that you need to do in the groups is be helpful. So, you're not explicitly selling your products and services, but you can provide options for people. You can respond, if somebody asks a specific question of, does anybody know a personal trainer in the St Albans area? Then by all means you reply to that question and you say, yes, I'm a personal trainer, these are my details. It's very important that you understand what the rules of the group are. So most groups will have rules about when you can advertise your product. It might be on a particular day, or there might be restrictions on the number of times that you can advertise a product. It might be once a month or once a week. You need to know what the rules of the group are, and you need to stick to those rules, because otherwise you'll really annoy people, and eventually you'll just be asked to leave. When you're in groups, you can actually go in and use a search functionality in the group, so that you can find posts that people have put up previously. So if we look here for personal trainer and see if anything comes up. Yeah, so there's a few people here. Now these are advertising their personal trainer services, but you'll see one, can MD recommend a personal trainer? Thanks. And got a whole list of recommendations. So as you can see, groups have a great opportunity for you to actually get to know your customers and start to build up a relationship with people, whether that's a relationship with people in your local area or a relationship with people who will begin to know and like your industry. The most important thing when you're on groups is be social, get to know other people in the group, and you can start to refer business to each other. Particularly if you're a local business, and you start to see questions coming up, do you know of local childminders? Do you know of a good child-friendly cafe? And if you start to make recommendations of other people, then in turn they'll start to recommend your services as well. It's a really great opportunity to build your network. The final thought I want to give you is about setting up your own Facebook group. Now, I have mixed feelings about this. I think on the one hand, it is a fantastic way for you to build up a following and to build up some credibility within an industry and really be seen to be a leader. So for example, if you offer arts and crafts classes in your local area, you might set up a group that has lots of hints and tips for mums on arts and crafts and the kind of activities that they can carry out with their children. And people can come into the group and ask questions, post photos of the things that they've created. And this is great because it is positioning you as an expert in that field in your local area. My one hesitation with groups is, if you don't think you've got the time to manage it properly, then don't set it up. Because nurturing a Facebook group takes time. I set up a group in my local area that's now grown to over 3,000 members, and there's another team that now looks after it. But it took up an inordinate amount of my time because I wanted to make it a really useful and helpful place for people, and I wasn't prepared to have people coming and spamming with lots of adverts, and I wouldn't appreciate people being rude or disrespectful on it. So I've adminned it very, very closely. And I would encourage you to do the same if you decide to set up your own Facebook group. So have a think about it. It is a fantastic way to build up your following, to have a whole pool of potential customers there. But at the same time, just make sure you're going to spend the time on it, because Facebook groups can be hugely valuable if you use them properly. So on that note, I'll leave you. Go and do some research on Facebook groups that would be applicable for your business. Request to join a few and have a look around and see how you could add value to that group. And by adding value to the group, then people will get to know you, to like you, to trust you, and eventually to buy from you. Bye for now.